Hello, everyone. This is going to be a podcast. Well, this is not going to be. This is a podcast for Pride Month, June. However, this is not going to be numbered, as in, this would be technically five, I guess. I think my fifth one. Anyway, why why do a cast for Pride Month? And for a while, when the marriage thing was legalized, I thought, okay, we have that progress, and we have that uh, um, stamp, like seal of approval, if you will. And so, at that time, I guess I figured, we have all this progress. So, what does it really matter now? What are things like where we're at and all that stuff, and you know not what doesn't matter, but we've made all this progress and we've gotten this far. I guess I thought we were kind of done in a way, not done, but in a good stance. And then, ironically, as soon as Trump became elected, not as soon as, but a little after, it seemed that the hate kind of came back a little bit. That the oppositions and the all that stuff. And so that was the realization point that this is why we have Pride. This is why, just like any other thing, we are no different than Black History Month. Than we are no different than um, celebrating the Irish, celebrating Mexican Cinco de Mayo. But celebrating your own heritage and your own culture, and what you can be a person and you can belong to many different things. And also, side note, background noise, whatever you hear. I'm not in the studio. I'm not professional at the moment. Soon, little steps. But so if you hear any background noise, whatever, it's fine. But um, like here, the way when I came out, I wasn't received well. It wasn't received bad by all, but it was more of a, it wasn't expected. I guess it wasn't. I was told by some that I was so loved, and I believe that. But you know, I think my mom took it the hardest at the time, and it was unexpected. Definitely, she said that she had some ideas and some things, and she may have known, she may have knew, but but as of now, I don't identify as any type of label. As I say, I like men probably 75%, and I guess if I would have to do that sort of thing, and women, I guess 25%. So I've been with more guys than I have with women. So, or been with more men than I have women. So, and right now I'm not really into. I don't know. I'm just whatever flows, and just doing life. But my first Pride at the time, it still wasn't received. It was, I think it was the following year, because I think I came out around, or told my mom and others at the time, other family members, basically family first at the time. Um, Around, what year was that? Was it 2006, perhaps? Maybe 2006, I think. And then the following year, 2007, was the first I heard of. Well, not first I heard of it, but first I was invited to go to a pride parade, and so I did that. I was then staying with my aunt a little bit, uh, because the reason being because we had, I think it was Day of Silence, and I was at home and I just did my thing, whatever, with it. And again, my mother didn't approve at the time. This, by the way, was in my, let's see, early 20s, I think. Maybe late 20s, early 20s. I don't know. But I wasn't received well at the time, and so I just kind of, there was some words exchanged and some a yelling going on, and long story short, I left my mom's for a little bit and stayed with my aunt, who also at the time, was new to accepting it and all that stuff and whatever. Um, and then so with her, I had to find a way to get to Chicago. She was in Wisconsin. I had to find a way to get to Chicago to the parade. And I was fine there because there was a train that went where I needed to go to downtown, and then I met my other friends on the train who were going at the one of the stops on the way, and so it all worked out well. Um, but I didn't actually say I was going to a pride parade, or whatever. I said I was going to the zoo or whatever. And being my first pride, I didn't. I just wanted to look cute, wanted to look fancy, wanted to look, expressive. And so I'm like, I don't really need sunblock, I don't think, or as much. And proceeded to put on glitter and stuff, slightly stuff like that instead of what I should have put on. And trust me, afterwards, well, I learned my lesson. Afterwards, I got home and I got in the shower. It felt like razor blades hitting my face and my body. It was just horrible. My arms, what was exposed? Like, I had a t-shirt on, I had shorts on, just regular attire. I wasn't in like a jock or anything like that. First time, like, I didn't know what to expect. So I'm just gonna, I just wore, I guess, kind of standard things, if you will. But even with that, the top of my head got burned. And I learned from that. You learn. And so, but it was still fun. But overall, definitely a wonderful experience. My first time going there, and definitely you feel like you have this key, to this all access party or all access thing. And it wasn't, just a partying. But all these people marching for the same common goals. And there's all types of things, there's all types of groups and churches, organizations, that have LGBT people in their community. That's why we march for acceptance. March for acceptance. If you don't know your true history of why the parade started, as I mentioned in posts and stuff, 1969, the Stonewall riots is why there is the parade every year. New York has always been like the number one for pride. And then, you have Chicago and you have New York, or you have San Francisco. And so those are like the bigger, I guess, the bigger ones. And the other ones can get as big too. But New York is where it started, so New York will always have that history. Because the parades kind of began as a protest and then evolved to what they are today. And it was on the Sunday to commemorate the Sunday in June when it happened. Whatever the last date of June, the Sunday in June is, whatever the last, whatever that falls upon, is always the last Sunday in June. In those three cities, yes, other cities have theirs other different times and different events and stuff like that. There are events now everywhere all month long, which is awesome. But the main pride events or the parades are always, for those three cities at least, or maybe more, but they're all, and they're funny too because they're all at the same time. So like, although different time zones, because you have the East Coast and the West Coast or whatever, and then we're Chicago Central, so all different time zones, but all going on the same day. And all these cities, which is really cool. I have only been to the Chicago ones, Chicago Prides, parades and events. I've only been to the parades. I haven't really been to many events there, but I have been, to like other events, other places. And for a while, I don't know if I went every year. Like I haven't gone every year in exact order. I went the first 2 or 3 years, I think, with different people. So the first 2 years was with the same people, same friends, and then the year after, I think it was with a different group of people, and then it slowly evolved into just another group of people, whatever, whoever wanted to go, pretty much. And then I went through a phase of after it became legal. This was also before the marriage thing became legal, but it was after that I kind of like, okay, that's when I stopped going, or stopped caring if I went or not, type of thing, and whatever, until now, realizing that we still need to have these marches. We still need to have these events. We still need to have our voices heard, because look at what's going on in the world. The world is under great change. And not only are we, the LGBT community has done great progress, has many allies, has many people that support and, are equal and all that. But we march still for those that don't. We march for those, and by march I mean, showing your pride in general. Just, you don't have to necessarily march, but standing up for yourself. We do this for the ones that are having a hard time, or for whatever reason don't feel like they can just yet, that are in countries that are sentencing people to death for it. That it's ridiculous, we think you ever think you have it bad in America? You ever think you have shit bad here? You can, but you found out in other countries, they sentence you to death in some areas. Now with that, there are people here, because we don't have that here. We don't have that hate here. I mean, we have hate, yes, obviously, but we don't have the, how to put this? It's less likely that someone is going to kill you for it, I would say, now, in certain areas. I'm not saying no one's immune. I'm not trying to invoke fear here. I'm trying to be logical. But, there's more supporters than there are that are not, if you will. Okay? So, you have good chances. I'm going to say that. Better chances. But most people, it doesn't matter regardless what it doesn't matter what anyone tells. This is the bottom line. You should not base your judgments or fears on what anyone else tells you. Even within the so-called spiritual community, all these spiritual people that are supposed to be there and support you and love you, yet this is one big issue I'm noticing, and it pisses me off, is the so-called New World Order, transhumanism, Luciferian agenda. That is correct as is. However, people need to understand exactly what that means. Those that don't, I'm going to say. Because there are those that do, that understand, what is Lucifer? What is that? We are the ones creating the New World Order, okay? We are the ones creating the New World Order, and I will have other things on this topic, so don't even worry. But you have these people that when you make the excuse it's a transhumanism agenda, it's inverted, or it's this agenda. What you're doing, you're still being a hateful asshole. You're just finding a new way instead of religion. Instead of saying, oh, the Bible tells me it's wrong, so I'm going to go with that. You're saying, oh, this conspiracy idea has now taken the place of the Bible, so I'm going to use that to justify me being a hateful asshole. That's what you're doing, okay? That's what people are doing with this. Some of you. So, look, if you want to be a hateful asshole, stop using outside sources to justify it. Just grow some fucking balls and admit that you're a hateful asshole. Alright? It's not that fucking hard, people. Now, anyway. It's, this is the follow-up to the Pride, I don't know what I'm going to call it, the Pride podcast, one where I got cut off. And, anyway, it is, the reason we still have it is because we have a right to be ourselves. We have a right to stand up and be heard. Everyone has a right to, but when you look at a community that has fought to be who they are, that has fought to come to this point of where we are, yes, we can get married now, but clearly that hasn't changed really anything. Most don't really care anymore, and it's true. It's certain. I don't think it has anything to do with a generation, age, or whatever. Because there are some that still question, and there are still. It depends on perhaps it depends on your location, your level of awareness, I guess. Because when you think about it, and you think about, the whole issue of, this is what is so funny is, consciousness, without your body, you are nothing. You don't have any genitalia. You don't have any, you don't even have that. You have an energy. You're just an energy. You can choose, it's possible. You can choose what you want to be or inhabit, or what part of yourself you want to be, if you want to be a dragon, if you want to be whatever. I don't know. Whatever's possible after the exit of the self. Which actually, that's a whole other subject I'm going to be talking about as well. But, as you have your body, and once you exit the body, what are you? Do you take this body with you? Consciousness is, your body. You don't take it with you. So when you look at it, the idea of transgender or intersex or identical, or you having two genders or whatever is all part of consciousness. There's the reason that some of us don't have those things is all part of consciousness. Is presented in the physical world as any possibility that it could be. And this is why you would have, illnesses as well. Many illnesses. Yes, they are created by the mind. Indeed. All things are created by the mind. And which means you can heal, certain things, are, pretty, like if you're born with, a disease and your skin comes off or something like that, or, some of those more severe type of abnormalities, if you will. They're fucking horrible, but they're part of a larger consciousness mind, And this isn't to say, when it comes to the idea of being a god, I'm gonna talk about that too. Shorthand, being a god doesn't mean you're all powerful and all, this is another point of the Bible, is making it seem like God is all perfect and all knowing, which is why idiots worship it, because they think it's perfect, it can never be wrong, it's always right, it's beautiful, it guides my life or whatever, because I'm incapable of thinking for myself, if the case may be. But that's basically what the idea of an outside God is, okay? And you don't have to worship something like that. You don't have to give away your power. Now, there is a difference between that type of, when people say, see, I don't like to use the word God because of that reason. That's just me. But there's other people that understand, that do understand what I'm talking about. And those of you that don't, you will learn. But there's this idea that a God should be outside of yourself. God is within. You are God. Now, when you look at the God of the Bible, truly, logically and truly, if you're unfortunately, say, if you're of the Abrahamic faith, you will not see this. This is the whole point. But however, if you are a very logical, rational, critical thinking mind, you already know. But the biblical God is not perfect. Look at mythological gods. They're all, attuned to their own unique abilities, hence archetypes, okay? This is where we come in. You, us, every individual is an archetype of the psyche, of the larger universe. We are, to look at it as such, we are these different aspects of the true possible, I'm not going to say true, but of a possible, larger formation type of thing. But the idea of being a god, you're not perfect. That is, oh my goodness, you drop that attachment immediately to the idea of being a god. That you're perfect, that you're nothing wrong with you, all that shit. No. What it means to be a god is whatever it means to you, your most powerful self. The self of you that strives and does what it can, when it can, to keep building itself up, whatever that may be. And that's, there's a whole infinite list of that. Everyone needs to find what their own unique talents, and many have, and which is wonderful. When you look at the world, look at someone doing, a job, and see if they're happy with it or if they're not. If someone is truly loving what they do, there will be you will notice it. They will glow more. They will be more expressive. They will be more tolerable. As opposed to someone who dislikes their job or whatever, they will be not too helpful, kind of aggressive, maybe shy, But at the same time, that also can go for someone with anxiety and things like that as well. Everyone has certain things that allow them to exist, as they are, which is, again, all the characteristics of an archetype. So yes, you are indeed a version of a thought projection of your higher self. One of yourselves. For, of course, you have many selves. Infinite selves. And the entire point of this rant is to realize we are more than human. We are more than these bodies. So what the fuck does it matter what someone does to them? But the whole point of it, the whole reason is you're not used to it. You're not used to something new, whatever it may be, whatever, subcategory that may be. It's new to you, and so you're defensive of it. You're fearful of it. This is human. This is purposely, and actually is supposed to exist within us. It's a survival mechanism. We are the top animals, per se, of evolution. Many other species, your dogs or your cats or whatever, don't use really critical thinking too much. They go strictly by their survival instincts. Ours are the same, it's about like the fight or flight type of thing. But the survival instinct is to always fear something that is new. And dating back to our prehistoric times, it would be during exploration, maybe in the forest or whatever, wandering through unexplored areas, not knowing what was around the corner. Was it friendly? What was it dangerous? Was it going to kill me? Could I kill it? Or could I, how could I use this? How would this be beneficial? Etc. Or how could this harm me? So that was built into our existence, and that was when we first came into become our early ancestors, what our early ancestors were, early humans. And we've come a long way, but we still have much ways to go. And it all begins with always just remembering that basic concept is we are more than these bodies in the first place. You need to stop judging so much what others do with theirs. Look at it that way. It's not your body. It doesn't matter who. As long as there is consensual agreements involved and consenting adults, it doesn't matter what people do. Consciousness is expressing itself through many multitudes. There is no agenda to take over the world. There is no, the idea to take over the world is to have more balance, more peace, more freedom, more love, more acceptance. You don't have to be the same way. You just have to not be an asshole about people that are. And there are many good ones. There already are many awesome people like that. So that's the whole idea. Let's continue to have awesome people like that. To have a world where everyone can get along and do their thing and do what they want. And, as long as it doesn't bring any harm to yourself or others, do whatever the fuck you want to do. Alright? That is all. I'm wrapping this up now. Spoken on it long enough. So yeah, love you guys. Peace out. Echo your sounds. If you would like to book a personal session with me, you can do so by reaching me at any of the following links. Until then, take care of yourselves. Echo your sounds.